What if you could see legends before they became legends? These rare photographs capture world-changing figures like Einstein, Monroe, Churchill, and Gandhi, not in the spotlight but in the quiet years before fame, power, and history claimed them. Each image freezes a fleeting moment when they were just young dreamers, rebels, or unknown faces, offering a haunting glimpse of greatness in the making. Winston Churchill as a young officer. Year 1895. A striking portrait of Winston Churchill in his early military career, taken in 1895. This image predates his political ascent and showcases the future British Prime Minister during his time as a young officer. Marilyn Monroe, year 1950. Captured by Life magazine photographer Ed Clark, this photo shows Marilyn Monroe in 1950, before she became a Hollywood icon. At this time, she was relatively unknown and just beginning to gain attention in the film industry. Albert Einstein as a young man, year 1903. This rare photograph captures a young Albert Einstein, circa 1903, before he became renowned for his theory of relativity. The image offers a glimpse into the early life of the physicist who would later revolutionize our understanding of space and time. Nikola Tesla, year 1891. A rare photograph of inventor Nikola Tesla in 1891, showcasing the man who would go on to make significant contributions to the development of alternating current electrical systems. Charlie Chaplin, year 1905. A youthful image of Charlie Chaplin from 1905, long before he became a global film icon. This photograph offers insight into the early life of the man who would redefine comedy in cinema. Pablo Picasso, year 1896. A portrait of Pablo Picasso taken in 1896, capturing the future master of modern art at a young age. This image precedes his revolutionary contributions to the art world. Mahatma Gandhi, 1910. A photograph of Mahatma Gandhi from 1910. During his time in South Africa. This image captures the man who would later lead India to independence through non-violent civil disobedience. Mark Twain, year 1867. A rare photograph of Mark Twain taken in 1867, showcasing the author of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn in his early years. Amelia Earhart, year 1923. A photograph of Amelia Earhart taken in 1923 before she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. This image captures the pioneering aviator in her early career. Theodore Roosevelt, year 1882. A youthful portrait of Theodore Roosevelt taken in 1882. At this time, Roosevelt was an ambitious young man with a passion for nature and history, long before he became the 26th President of the United States. Young Vincent van Gogh, year 1873. A rare early photograph of Vincent van Gogh at the age of 19. Captured in 1873, this image offers a glimpse into the youthful appearance of the renowned Dutch painter before his artistic fame. Harriet Tubman, year 1868. A rare photograph of Harriet Tubman taken in 1868, showcasing the future abolitionist and political activist during her early years. Annie Oakley, year 1880s. A portrait of Annie Oakley, the sharpshooter who became a star in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, taken in the 1880s. This image showcases the woman who defied gender norms and became a symbol of female empowerment. Geronimo, year 1880s. A rare photograph of Geronimo, the prominent leader of the Apache tribe, taken in the 1880s. The image captures the fierce determination of a man who fought to protect his people's land and way of life. Sarah Bernhardt, year 1870s. A striking portrait of Sarah Bernhardt, the French stage actress known as the Divine Sarah, taken in the 1870s. This image reflects the elegance and theatricality of a woman who became an international star. Thomas Edison, year 1878. A rare photograph of Thomas Edison, the prolific American inventor, taken in 1878. At this time, Edison was beginning his journey toward inventing the phonograph and the electric light bulb. Walt Disney at 16, year 1917. A teenage Walt Disney, around 16 years old, captured in 1917. This photograph showcases the future animation mogul in his formative years, long before creating the Disney empire. Joseph Stalin, year 1902. A rare photograph of Joseph Stalin at approximately 24 years old, taken in 1902. This image provides insight into the early life of the Soviet leader before his rise to power. Young Abraham Lincoln, year 1840, an early photograph of Abraham Lincoln, believed to be taken around 1840. This image captures the future US president in his youth prior to his political career. John F. Kennedy, year 1920s. A photograph of John F. Kennedy as a child, taken in the 1920s. This image showcases the future US president in his early years before his political career. Billy the Kid, year 1879. A rare tintype photograph of Billy the Kid, the infamous outlaw of the American West, taken in 1879. This image provides a rare glimpse into the life of one of the most legendary figures of the Old West. Gerhard sisters, year 1914. Emma and Mamie Gerhard, known as the Gerhard sisters, were among the first women photographers to establish a studio in St. Louis, Missouri in 1903, capturing portraits of notable figures in the early 20th century. Queen Victoria, year 1855. A rare photograph of Queen Victoria, the British monarch who reigned for over 6 decades, taken in 1855. This image captures the Queen during a period of significant industrial and cultural change in Britain. Florence Nightingale, year 1854. A photograph of Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing, taken in 1854. This image showcases Nightingale during her service in the Crimean War, where she became known as the Lady with the Lamp. Charles Dickens, year 1850. A rare portrait of Charles Dickens, the famous English novelist, taken in 1850. This image captures Dickens during the height of his literary career, known for works like A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations. Emily Dickinson, year 1847. A photograph of Emily Dickinson, the American poet known for her unique and unorthodox style, taken in 1847. This image offers a glimpse into the life of one of America's most enigmatic literary figures. Mata Hari, year 1905. Mata Hari, the Dutch exotic dancer and courtesan who was convicted of being a spy during World War I, is seen in a photograph from 1905. Her mysterious allure and subsequent espionage trial captivated the world. Sitting Bull, year 1885. Hunkpapa Lakota leader Sitting Bull is seen in a photograph from 1885. He played a crucial role in resisting US government policies and was a key figure in Native American history. Robert Cornelius, year 1839. Robert Cornelius, an American pioneer in photography, captured this daguerreotype self-portrait in 1839, widely considered the first known photographic self-portrait in the United States. Frederick William Flower, year 1850s. Scottish-born photographer Frederick William Flower is considered one of the pioneers of photography in Portugal, with his works from the 1850s showcasing early photographic techniques. Edgar Allan Poe, year 1848. American author Edgar Allan Poe, known for his macabre tales such as The Telltale Heart and The Fall of the House of Usher, is captured in a photograph from 1848. Mary Seacole, year 1873. Jamaican-born nurse Mary A. is photographed in 1873. She became known for her work during the Crimean War, where she cared for wounded soldiers on the battlefield. Charles Darwin, year 1860. English naturalist Charles Darwin, known for his contributions to the science of evolution, is photographed in 1860. His work, On the Origin of Species, laid the foundation for evolutionary biology. Marie Curie, year 1886. A young Marie Curie before her Nobel-winning research. This photo captures her early years, likely while she was still a student or early researcher in Paris. Susan B. Anthony, year 1848 to 49. Susan B. Anthony, when she was in her late 20s, early involved in the suffrage movement. This shows the early life of a woman who had become one of the leaders in the fight for women's rights. Herbert Hoover, year 1898. Herbert Hoover in his youth, before he became the 31st President of the United States, likely during his early professional life or education. Benito Mussolini's mugshot, year 1903. A mugshot of Benito Mussolini before he rose to power. This rare photograph comes from the time when he was still an agitator and journalist prior to founding the fascist state. Vladimir Lenin, year 1887. A young Lenin at age 17, well before the Russian Revolution. The photo shows him as a student or youth before his rise as a revolutionary leader. Ernest Hemingway, year 1918. A photo of Ernest Hemingway in his late teens, before he became famous for his novels and as a war correspondent, captures the early years of the literary icon. Frida Kahlo, year 1919. A portrait of Frida Kahlo as a teenager taken by her father, Guillermo Kahlo. The high-resolution scan on Commons shows her in early youth, long before she became internationally famous as a painter, useful for seeing how she presented herself in family and early studio photography. Gabrielle Coco Chanel, year 1910 to 1912. A studio portrait of Gabrielle Coco Chanel from her millinery years, taken around the time she opened Chanel Modes. The image shows Chanel's early look as a milliner and entrepreneur before her later haute couture fame. Claude Monet, year 1899. A photographic portrait of Claude Monet made by the celebrated photographer Nadar. This late 19th century studio portrait captures Monet in his mature years but is from the 1800s and 1900s era and is a verified Commons reproduction of the Nadar print. Auguste Rodin, year 1891. A classic Nadar portrait of the sculptor Auguste Rodin taken in 1891. The image shows Rodin in the period when his reputation was consolidating as one of the leading modern sculptors. Emmeline Pankhurst, year 1909. Photographed at the Women's Exhibition, this image shows Emmeline Pankhurst among activists and promoters of suffrage work. It's a period photo from the Museum of London collection showing Pankhurst during the height of the suffrage campaign. Gavrilo Princip, year 1914. A contemporary press photograph from Sarajevo widely circulated as showing the arrest after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, often associated with Gavrilo Princip. Langston Hughes, year 1936. A studio portrait of Langston Hughes taken by Carl van Vechten. The photograph records Hughes in his middle years during the Harlem Renaissance era and is a frequently used archival portrait. Emma Goldman, year 1910. A photomechanical reproduction of Emma Goldman appearing in anarchist/activist publications. The portrait shows Goldman in the decades when she was a prominent anarchist speaker and organizer in the US and Europe. Isadora Duncan, year 1904 to 1905. An illustrated program image and portrait showing Isadora Duncan from the Amsterdam Stad-Schouwburg program. This is a contemporary printed portrait associated with her dance performances and early 20th century reputation as an innovative modern dancer.